Hi guys, good evening.
Good evening.
So guys,
Good
today we are starting with the day one class for CCNA. So Aditya is the trainer who's gonna deliver the CCNA part. So why I'm here? Basically, I just want to announce that this dedicated batch is a combination of CCNA, MCSA, and the Linux, which is Red Hat. So it's a combination. It's a combination of Cisco, Microsoft, and Red Hat. So the people who's looking a job in industry, if in case they have a three different kind of vendor knowledge, they'll get a job easily. What I'm trying to say. So Adrit, over to you. You'll just start with the CCNA, and from Monday we have a MCSA, and we have a Linux from Monday itself.
All right. Thank you. Thanks a lot for introducing Gauravji. I'm sorry, everyone. Yeah. So today we are going to start with CCNA, right? And I'm going to share my screen and we are going to have fun. Today is going to be just our first session, right? So we are going to talk about a couple of things. We are going to talk about what a network is. We are going to talk about topologies as well in today's class. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. So just allow me a minute, everyone. All right. All right. So awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the notes with all of you, right? And I hope you can hear me. Can everyone hear me loud and clear? Or is it just for Ratul? What about others? Can others hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, awesome. Thank you. So I'm going to start. Yeah, so we are going to talk about networks today, right? So the thing is that some of you already know what a network is. Some of you don't know about it. Some of you are complete beginners in this domain. So it's fine. You don't have to worry about anything. Okay. So we are going to talk about networks because this whole course revolves around networks. All right. So let's start. Now, if you look at this definition or this description, it comes from a book. It comes from an old book, right? Called Kuros and Ross. So according to that book, this is what a network is. A network is a set of devices connected to each other, right? Now, those devices are also called as nodes. It could be a computer, it could be a printer or a scanner. So what are they going to do? They are going to communicate with each other. They're going to send data to each other. They're going to receive data from each other. And then what they're going to do is, they're just going to talk to each other. But how do they do that? They can do that via cables. They can do that via, let's say Wi-Fi. They can do that through Bluetooth as well, right? So this is what a network is. But now I want all of you to understand what it is. I don't want you to cram it. Okay, because if you cram this description or definition, you will never be able to explain it to the interviewer or the recruiter. Are you getting my point? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down this description or this definition for you. So how can we do that? Well, let me show you. So here, one thing has been mentioned, which is called nodes, right? So what are nodes? Nodes are devices. Now, what are those nodes? PCs, laptops, printers, scanners. But is that all about nodes? Or can we include more things inside nodes as well? What do you guys think? What do all of you think? Yes, I'm giving you the ability to unmute yourself. Suppose you have to set up a network in 2023. Is that all you are going to work with? Computers, printers, scanners, that's it? Or can there be anything else as well in this description?
Or it can be router, switch, PC, like that.
The router and a switch will not be considered as an end device. Are you getting my point? A router, they are network devices.
Mobile.
Yes, mobile phones. What else? We've got mobile phones, we've got tablets.
Every gadgets. Yeah, whatever gadgets.
IoT devices. Are you referring to IoT devices like smart devices?
Yeah, yeah. Overall, it is gadgets, right? Yeah, yeah.
Right. So when this description was created of networks, at that time, we just had computers. That's it. Nothing else. But if you look at the current scenario, we've got different types of devices. Okay. We've got PCs, laptops, scanners, printers, IoT devices. Now, when I say IoT devices, there are a lot of devices that can be considered as IoT devices. In industrial plants, right? In industrial plants, you have IoT devices being used as sensors. At your home, your Amazon Echo or your Google Home Mini or your smart coffee maker or your smart bulb, they're also end devices. But now, how do they talk to each other? They can either talk to each other through wires. And you must have heard of these two types of wires. Number one is the copper cable. The other one is fiber cable, right? Any other cables that you have heard of? Yes, you can unmute yourself. Any other cables that you have heard of? Have you heard of this cable called Ethernet cable? Like, how is it different from copper and fiber? Can anyone tell me?
Sir, it's a twisted pair cable, Ethernet.
Okay. And what about the copper cable?
Actually, Ethernet cable is only the copper cable. We can consider Ethernet as a copper cable.
Okay.
Twisted pair.
And what about fiber? Fiber does not. Fiber is not Ethernet.
Fiber is optical fiber.
Fiber is optical fiber. See, there are two types. I am talking about the materials that you're going to use. You can either use a copper cable or you can use a fiber cable. Fiber cable can be LED based or it can be laser based. Copper cable can be twisted, it can be untwisted, it can be twisted and shielded, it can be twisted and braided. Are you getting my point? What I'm trying to tell you. So this is a misconception that I want to clear in the first class itself. So guys and girls, you might think that I'm wrong, but I'm not. Ethernet is not just a cable. Ethernet is a standard. Okay. Ethernet is a standard which is known by this code name 802.3. Okay, it is known by this standard called 802.3. And 802.3 has both the cables, copper as well as fiber. Does that make sense to all of you? So Ethernet has both copper as well as fiber. So this is what Ethernet is. Okay, and in our upcoming classes, I'll show you the notes as well. Just give me a second. So this is the topic, Ethernet standards. And I've explained here that Ethernet is a collection of standards used for cabling. Has anyone heard of something called PoE, Power over Ethernet? Even if you haven't, that's fine. But have you? Has anyone heard of Power over Ethernet? Yes, guys and girls. You can unmute yourself. Have you?
Yes.
So what does it do, Ratul? Can you tell me? I can't hear you. I'm sorry. Could you be a
It will simultaneously provide power to the 10 devices to function.
Yes, it will. Yes, exactly. Right. So even that comes from Ethernet. So what is Ethernet, everyone? Ethernet is 802.3. It's the name of a standard. And in this standard, you have different standards for copper cables. And here I will explain what twisted pairs are, what shielded pairs are, blah, blah, blah. And then you have a standard for fiber optics. So both of them are considered to be Ethernet. However, whenever we have this discussion with someone, not technically, people think that Ethernet just means copper. No. Again, I'll explain this to all of you. Ethernet is not just copper. Ethernet is not just fiber. Ethernet is a complete standard in which you have both copper and fiber. Is that clear to all of you? Abhishek, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
All right, great. So coming back, we have talked about our devices. We have talked about how these devices will be connected to each other. They can be connected via cable. It could be a fiber cable. It could be a copper cable, right? Or they could be connected wirelessly. So when we say wirelessly, wirelessly means either via Bluetooth, or via Wi-Fi. So when we say Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, they are also standards. Why do we call them standards? Because universally they are accepted. It doesn't work like this that, in India, they will have a different standard for cables. In India, cables will have, 8 pins. In the United States, they will have a different mechanism. No. Because they are universally accepted, they have to be standardized. And there is a model or a project that we are going to study in our upcoming classes, which is called IEEE 802 project. There we are going to understand all these concepts. So what did I talk about? I talked about nodes, which are end devices, which will talk to each other. We have medium. Now, what is medium? Medium means how they are going to talk to each other. Are they going to talk to each other through wires, or are they going to talk to each other wirelessly? So what are the standards? Wires or wireless. And what else is required? You require a networking device. Without a networking device, communication will not happen. Okay, like in your home, you have a wireless router, right? You have a box called wireless router. In big organizations, in enterprises, they have switches and they have routers. So what am I drawing here? What are these two things? These are the logical diagrams of router and switch. So inside your network, what will you have? You will have nodes which will talk to each other. How? Through a networking device. And how will they be connected to each other? Either through wires or wirelessly. So does that make sense to everyone? Is that clear to all of you? So you can unmute yourself and tell me, is that clear to all of you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Perfect. And then I have a question for all of you. There is something called internetworking, and there is something called intranetworking. So what is the difference? guys and girls? Inter versus intra.
Intra is coming from VPN, sir. Office network, maybe.
Okay. And what is internet working?
Internet is the public network. What we get from ISP.
Okay. See, that was also the right description, but I wanted an easier description. So wouldn't it be easy to say that intra-networking means communication within the network? Intra means within. So within the network, when you play a game with your, flatmates locally or your family members, that's intra-networking. What is inter-networking? That is what we are doing right now. All of us are in our own networks and we are communicating with each other through this application called Zoom. So this is inter-networking. So intra-networking is within the network, inter-networking is between different networks. So does that make sense to all of you? Now, how is it done? I'm going to show you all the concepts about it. So yes, Ganesh, any doubts?
No, sir. Clear.
Clear? Perfect. So this is what we call a network. And I believe that you don't have to cram this anymore. You will be able to explain it to anyone who asks you what is a network. Will you be able to do that? Yes, will all of you be able to do that? Anyone who's still facing any doubts with this? All good? Yes, Rohit. All right. So yeah, yes, Lakshmi, I am going to repeat what I just said. I said that in a network, you have. So what is a network? Network is basically a collection of devices that want to talk to each other. We call these devices as end devices or nodes as well. Okay. Now, what are these nodes? These nodes are your computers, printers, scanners. But if you talk about the modern era of networking, then you can have IoT devices, you can have, smartphones, you can have tablets, you can have a lot of things. So why are we including so many devices these days in our networks? So you must have heard of something called BYOD. Does anyone know what BYOD mean? It's a term used in organizations. It's a term used in companies. What is BYOD? Anyone? You can unmute yourself and tell me.
Bring your own device.
Bring your own device. Perfect. So, especially when, COVID hit all of us, companies were still hiring, right? And when they were hiring, what did they mention? That, employees can use their own computers as well. But for that, obviously, they need to set up some tools, right? So when bring your own device policy was created inside companies, and even after, COVID is over, I can say that it's over now. A lot of companies encourage you to bring your own devices and you can use them for office work. Okay. So a lot of new devices started getting added to the list of nodes. All right. Now you have tablets, you have smartphones, you have PCs with which you can do company work. Okay. So these are nodes which can talk to each other. Got it. Now, how will they talk to each other? They will talk to each other via wired medium or wireless medium. Wired medium is either your copper cable or your fiber cable. So that is what wired medium is. And when you talk about wireless medium, what is wireless medium? Wireless medium is Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, NFC, infrared. All of these are wireless media. Okay. But in the organizations, obviously, we will use Wi-Fi. Are you getting my point, everyone? So you've got the nodes, you've got a mechanism of how nodes will talk to each other. But for communication, you require something called networking devices. Just like in your home, you have a wireless router. In big organizations, we have L2 switches, we have L3 switches, we have routers, and every device serves a specific purpose. So in the upcoming classes, you will see how they work. So Lakshmi, is it clear? Is it clear to you now, the concept of networking or the concept of network? Okay, perfect. So now we are going to talk about something called network criteria. All right. I'm going to talk about network criteria and what it is. So whenever we select a network, right, whenever we select a network, we just don't, follow someone or copy someone. There are some factors that we need to look at, right? So I'm going to take some examples and I will help you understand this concept. So let's say you have to get a connection for your home. You have to get a connection for your home. So you have ISP 1 and let me write it again. Sorry. Yeah, you have ISP 1 and you have ISP 2. So now you're paying the same price for both. Okay. And ISP 1 provides you a speed of 70 Mbps. And ISP 2 offers you a speed of 40 Mbps. Which one will you go with? I know the answer. Everyone will go with ISP 1 for the same price. Let's say you are paying $10 for your internet connection every month, and you have to choose an ISP. So which one will you choose? Just one person gave me the answer. What about others? What do others think? Which one will you go with? Yes, guys and girls. ISP 1, right? Because that's a given fact. But now, if I bring up another scenario here, I bring up a scenario where we have to talk about reliability. So ISP 1 is available the whole day, but from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. it is not available. From 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. it is not available. But when you talk about ISP 2, it is unavailable only for 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. for maintenance purposes. Now, are you still going to choose ISP 1? Yes, folks. Are you still going to choose ISP 1? Yeah, you can unmute yourself and tell me. Are you, or are you going to stick to ISP 2 now? Yes, tell me.
We'll go with ISP 2.
But why a sudden change? Like everyone wanted to go with ISP 1 initially, and why this sudden change? Because speed given by ISP 1 is higher than ISP 2. So why are you going to the other one? Huh?
Because of stable connection.
Because of, okay, right. So what do we have here for ISP 1? The speed is really good, but it's not reliable, right? That's the issue. It's not reliable. Or I can say that the reliability of ISP 2 is way higher than ISP 1. Now I've got another factor, which is security. Okay, another factor, which is security. So finally, what do I have? I have security. So let's say this particular ISP, which is ISP 1, it suffered a data breach. ISP 1 suffered a data breach. But ISP 2 is fine. ISP 2 has not suffered a data breach till now. So do all of you understand what a data breach is? Do all of you understand what a data breach is?
Yes, a cyber attack, something like that.
Unauthorized access to data within the network.
Stealing
Right.
of data.
So what happens is, as a customer, let's say you have some data inside you have some data stored inside an organization. Let's take a very simple example. You use all the food delivery apps like Zomato, Swiggy, and others, or Uber Eats, right? So let's say you have an account with the application, and what happens? Some attacker attacks their database and is able to gain access into everything. Now, on Zomato, what do you have? You have your name, your address, your credit card details or your UPI details, your password, right? So your password is sensitive, your address is sensitive, your email address is also considered to be sensitive because all of this is private information. Your credit card details are private, they are sensitive. So when this information is stolen, by a hacker, it means that the company has suffered a data breach. Okay. So ISP1's data was, involved in a data breach. ISP2 is safe till now. So finally, which one are you going to go with? Which one will you go with? Which one will you choose? ISP1 or ISP2? And also explain to me why. Why would you go with ISP2 and not ISP1? Because when I asked the first question, that was, related to speed, everyone said they'll go with ISP1. But then why this sudden change? You don't want speed anymore? What is the issue? Yes. Can anyone tell me? Can anyone give me an explanation?
Yes, sir. I would like to go with ISP2 just because of it's not working 10 to 4 a.m. If we are working after 10, then what we can do. And one more thing, it's not reliable, means anyone can hack. So that's why I would like to go with ISP2.
ISP2. All right. Perfect. So the reason why I took this example, everyone, is I wanted you to understand that speed is not everything. All right. Whenever we go for networks, we usually think that, oh, this one is giving me 100 Mbps for this much money. So let's go with this one. But what if you take it to some location and it's not even working at that time? So there is one thing that everyone needs to keep in mind is that there are three factors for selecting a network. Okay. There are three factors for selecting a network. And what are those? They are performance, reliability, and security. Performance means that you're using good networking components. The devices that you're using are of good quality. And good quality is not the answer here. Good quality does not mean everything. You should be able to configure them properly as well. Right? So if a network engineer does not know how to configure devices properly, so even the most expensive devices are going to fail, because what are they? They are just boxes, they are just hardware. So unless and until a network engineer can configure them properly, it will not make sense. Are you getting my point? Is everyone getting my point? So this is what performance is. Okay. Then we have reliability. Reliability means that they should not fail. Devices should not fail. Devices should work properly at all the times. But let me ask you a question. Are devices fail proof? Is there any such thing like that the devices will never fail?
No, sir.
No, right? Because these components, these devices, they go through wear and tear. All right. Since they go through wear and tear, obviously at some point of time, their quality will be impacted, right? And they can fail. So when we talk about reliability, we are not talking about something that is available for us 24/7, 365. There is no such thing in this world which is available 24/7, 365. Got it? By reliability, we mean that if one device fails, how quickly can the other device take over? Okay. if one device fails, how quickly the other device can take over its place. That is what reliability is. So in networking, we have two terms that we use very often. One is uptime, and the other one is downtime. What is the difference between these two terms? Yes, can anyone tell me? Yes, Ganesh, tell me. I can't hear you, Ganesh. If you're speaking, I cannot hear you. You're not loud enough. Yes, anyone else?
Uptime is the we are getting the connectivity, and downtime is the breakage of the connection from the SP.
All right. So what is which among these two is a desirable uh, term? Is it uptime or is it downtime? Which one is more desirable?
Uptime.
Uptime. So is that clear to everyone? Uptime means the time for which the services are being provided. Downtime is when they will stop working. Okay, that is what downtime is. So our downtime should be as low as possible. Got it? Downtime should be as low as possible. So what are we going to do? We have to configure our devices in such a way. Okay, we have to configure our devices in such a way that the uptime is high and the downtime is low. But how can we do that? By proper configuration. Okay, through proper configuration, we can ensure this. So this is what reliability is. Reliability means that, I should be able to use my network or use my services for some time. Okay, whenever I desire it to be available. That is what reliability is all about. Then finally, we have something called security. Okay, we have something called security. Security is about making sure that your data that is flowing through the network is free of errors. You have to make sure that people who are unauthorized, they can't make any changes. Okay, people who have not been provided any access should not make malicious changes to our data. That is what it means. Is that clear to all of you? So that is what all these factors are about. Clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any doubts here, guys and girls? Is there? So Salman, is there any way to verify any changes with logging into it? I could not understand your question. Could you like unmute yourself and then ask me? I could not actually understand your question. So if Salman, you could unmute yourself and tell me. Oh, when you say changes, what is it about? Is it like some malicious changes have been made? Is that what you're saying? So yes, there are logs. Okay, there are logs for everything. Whenever you make any changes, whenever log in into your computer, there are logs for that. Are you getting my point? That is what, or that is the mechanism through which we can find out if any changes have been made. So if even if it's a right change or a wrong change, we can easily find that out. Let's say as a higher authority person, you make changes in the switch, malicious changes, and you try to delete them. There will be a log for them. If you try to delete the log, there will be a log generated for that. Are you getting my point? That is how we can find out. Because of syslog. Okay. In switches, in routers, what do? We configure a protocol known as syslog. I can share the notes for that with all of you. Although this is a concept that we are going to study very late in our course, but if you want to study more about it, if this is something that you do on a daily basis, I can share this with you.
From where we can get
Where we can get what?
this PDF right now?
I've shared it in the chat box, Zoom chat box. If you can open it, it will be available there.
Okay.
All right. All right. So now let's talk about the main topic today, which is topologies. Now, I talked about performance, reliability, and security. So I have a couple of questions related to this for all of you. Okay. Uh, if I have to design a military network, okay, if I have to design a military network, what will be the order of these factors? Obviously, I cannot achieve all the factors at the same level. If performance is at the highest, security and reliability will be lower, and they will follow performance. They cannot be the same. So tell me the descending order of how I will be considering these factors. Write it down in the chat box. If I am creating a military network, what will be the order? Yes, everyone, I want you to answer this question. So Rohit has mentioned that security will be the highest, followed by reliability, followed by performance. What do others think? And people who are watching this on YouTube, I want you to answer this as well. Okay, so how is it going to work? It will be security followed by reliability followed by performance. And now let's say I have to create a network for the hotel. I have to create a network for the hotel. So how am I going to arrange these factors? For a hotel, everyone. Why? For a hotel, you guys are mentioning that security will be at the highest. Why? Why would you apply security at the same level as you would apply in military? Are you worried about someone stealing your data in a hotel? Come on, guys, think carefully. See, I would consider it to be performance followed by reliability followed by security. Why? Because no one comes to a hotel for working, right? No one comes to a hotel for working. They just want to finish their work if they have any, right? If they have any meeting, right? You can attend that, and that's it. So performance should be at the highest level, followed by reliability and then security. Like for military, I need to use encryption. I need to use a lot of factors to secure the network. Why would I, you know, create a network in the similar manner for a hotel? Wouldn't it be too expensive? What do you guys and girls think? It's going to be extremely expensive. So it's not going to make any sense. So military, right? Military will have this order of these factors and hotel will have this order of these factors. And these factors are extremely important because they help us connect our devices together. Okay. They help us connect our devices together. Now, when I say connect our devices together, which term am I mentioning about? Which term am I mentioning here? Can anyone let me know? So if you look at the title of today's session on YouTube, what is the session about? Today's session is about topology. All right. So based on the factors, we will create our topology. All right. So today's topic is topology. This is what we need to talk about. Now, what is a topology? Yes, you must have heard of this term. What is topology? Yes, guys and girls, I would like to hear your opinion. Yes, can you unmute yourself and tell me what a topology is?
It's the layout structure of the networking devices.
Just the networking devices or the end devices as well? So what is
And devices
included?
also.
End devices also, great. So what is a topology? Topology is basically the manner in which we are going to connect our devices. And let's say I am a network engineer for a school, right? My friend is a network engineer for a military organization. I have recently joined this job and I have to create a topology for my school network, right? If I talk to my friend and ask their advice and I make a copy of the topology that they are using, would that be a wise decision? My friend works for a military organization. I copy the topology that they have created for a school. Do you think that it would make sense? Do you think that it's viable for my organization? Yes, guys and girls, what do you think? It's not at all viable. Why? Because I have to first keep in mind the parameters. All right. After selecting the parameters, I will then check Okay, I will then check what is my budget. And then accordingly, I will create a blueprint. It's exactly the same as building your house, right? Now, when you build a house, do you straight away start laying down bricks and on top of that you will build your house? Do you do that, or you first create a blueprint? What do? You first create a blueprint. Who creates that blueprint? An architect, right? After that blueprint is created, that architect is going to show you that blueprint. You are going to verify that. You are going to check it. You will see if it's good looking, if it's going to work properly, right? If that particular blueprint is reliable, if it is going to ensure security as well. And if you like it, if you approve it, then you will start building your house. So the same thing goes with networks as well. Okay. So whenever we talk about topologies, we talk about two things inside topologies. Physical topology and logical topology. All right. So logical topology is the blueprint that we'll create for a network. Before buying devices, before we start configuring them, before we start connecting them to each other via cables, we first create a logical topology. Okay. Logical topology is created on tools. So there are a lot of tools in the market for that. Now, we are going to work with a tool which is also known as a simulator in our course. It's called as Packet Tracer. So Packet Tracer is a free tool created by Cisco, with which what you can do is you can work with different topologies. You can create your own topologies. You can check different functions of devices. And then you can decide whether you want to connect your real world devices in the same manner or not. Are you getting my point, everyone? So like, I will connect my routers. I have different routers here, so I can connect them together. I will connect them together first, and then I will check whether they are working properly or not. The reason why I have created this topology, is it solving that particular purpose or not? That is the next thing that we are going to check here. If it satisfies everything, if it passes all the tests, then we are going to create a physical topology. So we can create topologies via different techniques. We can create them through simulators. We can create them through emulators. We have topology creation tools as well. Like in the market, we work with something called draw.io as well. With draw.io, you can create diagrams of routers and switches. You can create a topology if you want to. Okay, so this is something that you can do here. So this is for cloud. This is for network. So you can see this. So you have your switches, you have your layer 3 switches, you have your layer 2 switches. Okay. These are known as WLC wireless LAN controllers. All of this is going to be taught in the classes. Don't worry. I'm just showing you that first we are going to create a blueprint. Okay. And this is how we do it. Clear to all of you? So after we have created our blueprints and we have verified that everything works properly, we will then connect them to each other. How do we do that? We do that by having a good understanding of the trivial topologies. Okay. So these are some common topology types. You have point to point, you have bus, ring, star, tree, mesh, and hybrid. The topologies that we work with today, they are not going to exactly look like this. They are modified versions of these topologies. Okay. They are modified versions of these topologies. Sure, I will share the link. Ratul, you were talking about Cisco packet tracer. Is that what you were talking about?
I think those were in starting. Just,
The tools that I showed in the beginning, right? That is what you're okay. So in the classes, we are going to work with that tool and I will show you how to install it as well. Don't worry. But if you want a link for that, there it is. It's right here. It's called Skills for All. This is an official download link from Cisco. So you have all the tools available. You have packet tracer for macOS, you have packet tracer for Ubuntu, and you have packet tracer for Windows. In the classes, I'll show you how to download it. Don't worry. Okay. So what do we have here? We have our topology types. So we are going to start with the first topology, and we will do that in the next class. Okay.
What was the website that we have used to create that blueprint?
Yes, sure. Draw.io, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, I can share this with you in the chat box. This is really good. And then there is one more called Lucid Charts. It's similar to how this one works. It's also very good, Lucid Chart. So you have to create an account. I mean, the quality that you will get on Lucid Chart will be way better than Draw.io, but Draw.io is a free tool and it's still very good. Like all the research projects that I've worked on, I used Draw.io for that and it worked fine for me. It was really good. So you can use that.
Thank you.
Yep. So yes, folks, that's going to be all that we are going to do today. In the next class, we are going to talk about topologies. Okay, we are going to talk about the concept of topologies, where we will talk about mesh, star, bus, ring, and the others. Okay. So that would be all. Thank you. Bye-bye, and see you in the next class, everyone. All right. Take care. Bye-bye. Have a great weekend.